Welcome to the Adams Stories. Enjoy watching. Bombardino Gusini and the Song of the Burning Reeds far beyond the Rainbow Hills and the Mirror Meadows. In the winding jungles of Lemoriana lived a crocodile named Bombardino Gusini, the younger brother of the legendary hero Bombardino Crocodilo. Unlike his brave and fearsome brother, Gusini was quiet, thoughtful, and musical. He didn't wear armor, didn't leap through rings of fire, and didn't hunt trolls in the Echo Caves. Instead, he sat by the banks of the Lulu River, composing melodies on a flute made from the bone of an ancient flamingo. But one day, smoke rose over the jungle. The reed fields, a sacred place where the earth itself used to sing, began to burn. They said the ancient smoky serpent, Hissteralus, devourer of sounds and harmony, had awakened. His roar silenced birds, crickets, even the wind dared not whistle. "Bombardino, help!" cried the animals. But the older brother was far away on an expedition to the ice spires. Only Gusini remained. He looked at his flute, breathed in the scent of burning reeds, and walked. Gusini crossed 3 rings of ash, whispered the song of thorns to avoid getting pricked, and reached the heart of the fire. There, in a scorched clearing, sat Hissteralus, the giant serpent coiled up, roaring so low that tree trunks cracked. But Gusini did not flinch. He took his flute and began to play. It was the song of the burning reeds, an ancient melody passed down through crocodile blood, with notes powerful enough to awaken even a frozen lake. The flames quivered. The serpent fell silent. His eyes shimmered with tears. "I only wanted to be heard," whispered Hissteralus. And so Gusini sat beside him and played gently, like the rain. He played until dawn, until the smoke drifted away, until the reeds stood tall again. That was the beginning of a friendship between a crocodile and a serpent, and the jungle sang once more. Since then, Bombardino Gusini became the keeper of sounds of Lemoriana, and his flute, a symbol of the strength of silence and kindness. And when Bombardino Crocodilo returned, he simply nodded to his brother. "Well then, looks like we've got 2 heroes in the family." After the flames had faded and the jungle regained its harmony, Bombardino Gusini returned to his quiet life by the river. The animals often came to listen to his music, and even Hissteralus would slither down from the smoky hills just to hum along in his deep, rumbling tone. But peace never lingers long in Lemoriana. One morning, the river stopped singing. The water, once full of ripples and melodies, now flowed heavy and still, as if something had stolen its rhythm. Fish swam in confused circles, and the reeds bent low, whispering warnings. Gusini dipped his flute into the water and listened. Silence. Then he heard it. Tung, tung, tralala. A strange pattern echoed from upstream, mechanical and cold. It came from the Clockwork Caves, a forgotten place carved into the cliffs where time once lived and ticked before it was lost to chaos. There, in the heart of the gears and chimes, lived Tung Tung Tralala, a half-clockwork, half-creature mystery. His body was made of bronze bells and silver springs, and his voice could loop any sound he heard, perfectly, endlessly. Long ago, he had wandered into the caves, fascinated by the tick-tock symphony of time. But over the years, Tralala became trapped in his own loops, forgetting what was his and what was borrowed. Now, he had captured the river's song, replaying it for himself over and over, draining the world of its flow. Gusini climbed to the cave. He found Tralala sitting cross-legged on a throne of gears, head bobbing to an echo of the river's melody. Around him, sounds flickered like ghosts. Old songs, baby bird chirps, even Gusini's own laughter. "Tung Tung," Gusini said softly. "You've borrowed too much." Tralala blinked. "I'm keeping them safe." "They're not meant to be kept," Gusini replied. "They need to fly." Gusini raised his flute, but instead of playing a song, he blew a single note, pure, clear, imperfect. Not a loop, not a copy, just one breath, alive. Tralala shivered. The gears around him slowed. He reached for the sound, but it was already gone. And that was the moment he remembered, his own voice. For the first time in centuries, Tralala sang. It was strange and beautiful, filled with rusty edges and warm echoes. The river began to flow again. Since that day, Tung Tung Tralala visits Gusini once a moon, and they play together, one from breath, the other from bell. And the river sings in harmony, never looping, always new. After the river was healed and the songs flowed freely through Lemoriana once more, Bombardino Gusini and Tung Tung Tralala became quiet legends. Travelers came from far valleys just to hear them play. The breath of the flute, the chiming of gears, the melody of two hearts learning to listen. But beyond the velvet swamps, in a place where time melts and colors home in the air, someone else had been listening. Tralalelo Tralala, a dream walker, a shadow dancer. No one knew where he came from or what he truly was. Some said he was Tung Tung's twin, born from a forgotten note. Others whispered he was made from silence itself, the echo of a lullaby never sung. Tralalelo didn't steal sound like Tung Tung once did. He stole dreams, and he wanted Gusini's. One twilight, while Gusini slept beneath a star-bloomed tree, Tralalelo slid into the clearing like moonlight spilled from a cracked jar. His body was woven from mist and melody, and in his long fingers he carried a net made of silver yawns and lullabies. He crept close to the sleeping crocodile, but just as he cast his net, crash, boom, pop, the swamp exploded. Out of the underbrush came a blur of polka dots and glitter, with goggles on her snout and fireworks strapped to her tail. Bombombini Gusini, Gusini's chaotic cousin, had arrived. "No one nabs my sleepy cousin while I'm on watch duty," she yelled, flinging a burst of confetti into Tralalelo's misty face. Tralalelo shrieked in silent notes, unraveling into smoke. Gusini woke up with a yawn and a blink. "Bombombini, how did you even find me?" "I followed the scent of your serenity," she grinned. "Also, Hissteralus gave me a map. He's great with calligraphy now." Later that night, as the stars twirled above and the swamp giggled with frog song, Bombardino, Bombombini, and Tung Tung sat together, sharing stories, laughter, and strange bubbleberry tea. And though Tralalelo still drifts through the dreams of Lemoriana, searching for melodies to trap, he knows now the Gusini line is protected, and their music, their chaos, their love is stronger than his net will ever be. The next morning, after the adventure with Tralalelo Tralala, Bombardino Gusini woke up to a strange ringing. Not the morning wind, not birds, not even Hissteralus's velvet tractor snoring. It was a xylophone, but not an ordinary one. It rang with bones, and each note echoed deep in the belly, like the world remembering a dream from 1,000 years ago. "Oh no," groaned Tung Tung Tralala. "It's the bone xylophone of the great Gong Gong." "Who?" asked Bombombini, already putting on her flying goggles and loading butterfly fireworks. The bone xylophone was an ancient artifact from the floating temple. which appears once every 100 years to choose a new musician of eternity. But if the xylophone isn't played before the third sun sets, and Lemoriana has 3 suns, by the way, the Lily Lulu River will overflow with dreams and flood the land. Yes, dreams. That means everyone will fall asleep and start seeing each other's dreams, from innocent to very, very weird. So, if someone dreamt they were eating their aunt, we'd all see it? Asked Bombombini. Exactly, said Gusini, and the ant wouldn't be happy. So our heroes, Gusini, Bombombini, Tung Tung, and even semi-reformed Hissteralus, set off for the temple. It floated above the river like a giant musical lotus, slowly sinking into clouds of sleep. To reach it, they had to pass through the Gigglefish Canal, where the fish tickled the oars, the shaking island, constantly vibrating from an invisible DJ's bass, and the reverse bridge, which replayed everything they said backwards, forcing Bombombini to rhyme just to not sound like a mad poet. At last, they reached the temple. Inside, surrounded by wind, ash, and the sounds of dreams, stood the bone xylophone, waiting. Gusini raised his flute, Bombombini lit dancing fireflies, Tung Tung tuned his chimes, and they began the improvisation of eternity. They didn't play notes, they played feelings, memories, the scent of apple pie and childhood, and that moment right before sleep when someone whispers your name. The xylophone responded, it laughed, it wept, it chose all of them. Because music doesn't belong to one, it lives in connection, in silly moments, in heroes and oddballs who know how to listen. As the temple rose above the clouds, leaving behind a soft chord in the air, Gusini smiled. Well, we've got a day left before the full moon. Who's up for pie?